Is Lori, or is she in Vegas? Who knows? We'll find out when Lori comes on. All right, right after these messages.
Biker Wolfpack Law is a safety organization founded by myself alongside Robert Howell with the primary focus of motorcycle safety, advocacy for injured bikers, and just general protection for those injured while riding motorcycles in the great state of Texas. Biker Wolfpack Law is a division of Glenn Larson Law Injury Attorneys, which is my firm. What's different about Biker Wolfpack Law is it's a community-based, event-based connection component to make sure that motorcyclists have all of the safety information they need, all of the legal information they need, and frankly, if needed, that full-blown legal advocacy in times of injury through no fault of their own.
One of our big events is we do ASM classes, which are accident scene management classes, which are put on with the Road Guardians, group of riders that are usually EMTs, doctors, nurses that also ride. And so they know what can happen when you're out there by yourself. And so it's a very intense class, like how to do tourniquets, how to get a helmet off of a person without hurting their neck more, how to get somebody out of the middle of the road. We do those a couple times a year, and the more safe riders are out there, the better it is.
The second division and component of Biker Wolfpack Law is to sponsor local musicians at bike nights or other community events that involve motorcyclists, but also just the community as a whole. And then third is larger charity organization events or rides to get out in the fresh air and have some fun. What I love most about representing bikers and motorcyclists across the great state of Texas is really one thing. It's about hearing the story. It's about going to motorcycle events, constantly meeting new people and making new connections. One of the reasons why I started Biker Wolfpack Law was to defeat and counteract many of the biases that are out there that, quote, motorcyclists are just dangerous. Make sure that motorcyclists are seen as exactly who they are, very hardworking, very responsible, and very dedicated individuals that deserve the justice that they need.
Welcome to Biker Down with Lori Montoya. Let me just give a big shout out to Johnny Rizzo with Motorcycle Mayhem, who's been watching. Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny Rizzo's out there. Lori, how you doing?
I'm good. And where is Lori? Lori is still in Colorado. And I'm fixing to go on a cruise for my grandson's graduation coming up on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to 7 days on a cruise boat, sipping my pina coladas, and you know how crazy I can get on a cruise. So
hell yeah, you'll be at the slot machine with the drink.
Bam!
You're picked up and relaxing.
I can't even imagine 7 whole days of relaxing. It's been quite a long time. In the past 60 days has been challenging, and when I say challenging, you have Awareness Month going on and rides. I'm fading in and out here.
Fine.
No, I it's like I got mushrooms.
Oh.
See me, I'm fading in and then I'm fading out. But anyway, you have a lot of awareness things going on in April and in May, and I just finished up our Motorcycle Awareness Day here in Colorado, and that was really great. I think we had 75 riders to start with, but a lot of people had other events. And so by the time everybody got to our Dirty Dogs Roadhouse, we probably had 150. And, what's funny about, and I'm sure you guys can relate, you plan a party or a ride or an event, and you always cross your fingers and pray that people will come. And, what you find is that, there's a lot of things going on and things like that. And so what I always tell people is that the people that are meant to receive the message are the people that are here that day, and so we had a great time. It was funny because Chumper and I actually, I didn't have time to get a lot of donations. And so we literally cleaned out part of our house. Because all year long he comes home with this
You
stuff.
want a salt and pepper shaker?
Yeah, but he comes home and he goes, "Oh, honey, look at this fire pit I bought. You can use this for a raffle." And oh, honey, look at this picture I got on Amazon or Marketplace. You can use this for a raffle. And so we literally went all around our house, went out to the garage, and everything else. And it was just really quite amazing to see all the stuff that we'd accumulated. So we were both pretty happy to get rid of that stuff and things. And I know that you saw it, John. I don't know if Pitbull had a chance, but I had sent a shout out a couple weeks ago, really wanting to come up with a motorcycle song that resonated with the biker community. And I was contacted by a gentleman named Tim Dunbar and Dunbar Studios. And if you go on YouTube, look up Dunbar Studios, and he came up with a song called Heaven's Gate. And I literally, few bars into it, said, "Oh my God, this is the song." And John, you have heard it, right?
I have not heard it yet.
Okay, well, how about I post it on the link?
Well, can you get that up on YouTube? Hold on, let's see if what's it called?
It's called Heaven's Gates, and it's Dunbar Studios.
Heaven's Gate, Dunbar Studios.
It's
I'm gonna look it up and see if we can play it.
A
Real
muscular guy, but anyway, it was very profound. And you guys were always talking about people losing their lives, veteran suicide, the extreme pain and loss that a family goes through. And this song really resonates, the open road. And I just encouraged him. I said, before I premiere this, I said, you got to put it on iTunes or something like that. I said, because people are going to want to buy this song. It's only 99 cents. And so he did, and he's really knocked it out of the park. And we're going to try to get a hold of Moonshine Bandits or a country. This is a song that Jason Aldean or somebody would hear this song. And I'm sorry I didn't have it clicked up, or I should have.
I like me some Moonshine Bandits. Have you heard of Moonshine Bandits?
No.
I'll send you they got some good biker songs.
We got to get you out more, dude.
I know.
I know.
If I even know, we got to get him out.
We got to get you to Sturgis and
girl. And
there's the 85th. I don't know how you.
My life consists of home, the studio, work, and Kroger or Albertsons. That's
but you did get on the bike yesterday, right?
What? No, I got to ride the other day. Me and Tigger went out. It was nice. We finally got to get out, and we but the weather looked like it was gonna pour any minute. I was like, I don't care. Let's get on the bike and let's just ride.
It rained on
Sunday.
And
so while he's looking that up, but anyway, we ended up premiering that, and there literally wasn't a dry eye in the house. And then when we got to Dirty Dogs, we put it on the big PA, and we have a gentleman here that's been in the biker community playing music for probably 30 years. His name is Dave Fisk. And somebody that if I asked him about a song, what do you think? And he goes, that's going to be a number one. And when he says number one, meaning if that's a number one in the biker community, he said somebody should pick that up. It's really that good, and it moved me, and stuff. So I was really honored about that. But we had some really good news. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the money that the MOST program, Motorcycle Operator Safety Training, was holding on to here in Colorado, which was over $2 million. And ABATE had a meeting with the MOST program, and 2 of their members are now on the advisory board. They're going to now be giving out $100 stipends to the biker community, anybody that wants to get their endorsement. We really made a difference with a grassroots effort here in Colorado. And that inspires me to get with you guys, get with Glenn, and get with Texas Abate and things like that. And let's put out that information again about $19 million being sat on in the state of Texas. And just imagine if you could take an endorsement class for a couple $100, if you could take an advanced class for a couple $100, if you could take if an accident scene management class like Glenn is sponsoring to offset the cost, if you could get that for free, if we could give away, a helmet every month or something to engage more of the biker community and unify us all as riders. And, before I was getting ready, I had the news up and there's this high speed. Yes, Johnny Rizzo, you can sing it.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, and yes, Laurie Montoya has another hat. This is my Raiders of the Lost Ark. I forget what his name is.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. This is my Indiana Jones hat. So it's pretty cool. I finished my hat class. I'm officially a master hat shaper, but that's a different subject in a different time. But imagine what we could do if we all unified in Texas and put that money to really good use, which is why we pay that extra $4 or $5 a month on our renewal every year, is we want it to go to the biker community, so I'm really thrilled about that. So here's what's going on in nationwide in the biker community. Today or yesterday, while Trump was at the Capitol, it was bikers inside the Beltway. And what that is that representatives from every state, whether it's Abate, Motorcycle Riders Foundation, if you're a club, if you're a HOG chapter member, anybody that wants to come is willing to can come to the Capitol that day and speak to the legislative body in their state, or if you've got the time, you can talk to anybody. Some of the things, and while it's really hard sometimes because I know that everybody loves to throw a leg over. You want to get on the open road and you want to forget about anything that's going on in your life. But make no mistake, there are entities out there, same as the autonomous trucks. There are people out there making decisions that will trickle down and affect your riding. And some of them are, as we've talked about, motorcycle profiling. I don't think I want ethanol fuel mandates in my bike. I know Chomper doesn't. Autonomous vehicle safety and recognition of motorcycles. That was something that we talked about, that's been going on for years, that those systems are having a hard time reading pedestrians and motorcycle riders. I get killed by some semi that doesn't have nobody in it, or even if it's got somebody sitting in the passenger, I'm going to own a company. And because Glenn's going to represent me.
Right? Girl, real. Own that.
Drop the mic. The other thing is preservation of the internal combustion engine. I used to say that out here in Colorado when I rode a snowmobile, that I don't want to be with all the cake, granola eating milk drinkers.
I lived in Breckenridge for a little bit. I know exactly what you're talking
about.
Yeah.
I want to feel a motor between my legs, and things like that. I need that rumble, and, they really are trying to. And I think that comes from a lot from the previous administration, and that's not to get into politics. Listen, if you want an electric bike, I think you should have the right to buy an electric bike. But I don't think you have a right to mandate to me or any biker which one I choose.
Right.
Loud pipes save lives, and I don't know how you're getting a loud pipe with an electric bike.
No, absolutely. And so, this is the point that I'm making is that while throwing a leg over and getting on the open road is important to you, you don't really know how many people are out there trying to take away your rights. So we need to be super thrilled that the Motorcycle Riders Foundation is in Washington, D.C. every day, pounding the pavement, monitoring these bills that are, trying to get through. But it was really great because in Texas, I decided to pull, and the other thing was health insurance discrimination, and motorcycle access to public lands, which I guess would be more the dirt bikes.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. Who's to say that all of a sudden one day we get, and that happened to me as a snowmobiler. They wanted to keep the snowmobiles out of West Yellowstone in the winter when the park was closed, because they were too lazy to want to plow the roads and let us be on it. So we had to go to the, state capitol or the, government in DC, and we had to fight that because that was a federal thing. So, it definitely isn't something that should affect us, but it does. And all of a sudden you find out about something when people have been fighting about it for years,
Right.
trying to watch out for your rights. So it's super, just like the veterans, we respect our veterans, but we don't really understand what they go through at the VA. You have to be in it to understand, or have a relative that isn't being treated properly or is on a huge wait list, until it affects you personally. And once it gets on a nationwide scale, it's too late to fix it. And it's too late to change it.
Lori, you just said the words that we kind of bring up all the time, and I'm glad you nailed that home, is that many people don't do anything until it impacts them personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that could be anything. That could be, on a veteran level, it could be on a medical level, it could be on a bullying level. People seem to sweep things under the rug and not really care about it until it hits their front doorstep, and then they expect the world to come running for them. We have people out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that are out there fighting for these causes.
Mm-hmm.
And we run events each and every week. There's missions going on each and every week in every county across the country to support this. And some people
I'm
aren't
gonna play
coming
devil's
out.
advocate on you on this one though. So you're saying you can't, you need a cause. Well, sometimes it doesn't hit them until that cause hits them.
Right, no.
So
right.
there's so much in their life going on. Just juggling your life in general.
I get that.
So
I get that. Okay.
Something happens to them, and then all of a sudden they're gung ho about it. Yeah, because now they see the impact of it, and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't want this to happen to anybody else. Let me get involved."
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. But what I love about what we're doing with this segment is giving a platform for people to hear what's going on. How many people have never been to Washington, D.C.?
Right.
What a great opportunity to put it on your calendar next year. There's no invite or something like that, but what a great time to go to Washington, D.C. and meet up with some of these organizations and say, listen, I have no idea what you're doing or how you're doing it. I wanted to come to D.C. I wanted to see our government, and I wanted to support you because you are working on it 24/7, 365. I just throw a leg over. And that's what you're giving me, is this platform, and Glenn, to say, listen, these are the things that are going on in your community or nationwide. And we as bikers, again, not to bring up politics, but there's a reason that there were bikers for Trump. Right. Because of the power that the biker community, the millions of registered bikers in the United States. There aren't many other organizations, maybe AARP, Social Security, you know what I'm saying? Right. There are some, but not as big as AMA and MRF and Abate Nationwide and Hog Chapter Nationwide. Imagine if we took those 5 organizations to all unify and say, you're not going to do this. When you see a post that says, call your representative, make your voice heard, because what's going to happen is rights are going to get taken away. And then it's going, like we said, it's going to be too late. So, some of the things in Texas that your Texas Abate Confederation, Texas Motorcycle Rights Association, I'm sure 90% of your listeners have never heard of these organizations.
That's what I was kind of like. So you're saying like a lot of people don't know about these organizations, and that's what was coming to my head. Of like, why isn't there like some kind of like resource where there's a list of everything, so people want to find something to get on? There's like a list of like, hey, I like this cause, I like that. Like, is there something that can do that?
If you ride, you should be in tune with what's going on.
But if you're an independent rider, maybe you're not. I mean, unless you go meet somebody at like a Harley or an Indian, and you maybe get involved, or you find a group on Facebook. But like,
yeah, but that's something at an endorsement class.
Yeah,
I did, but I mean, I didn't get any like
right
any, like clue of like.
No, but she's saying at an endorsement class, bring these things
yeah,
up.
Yes, I agree.
We can make a pamphlet that talks about what really kind of insurance you need to have and what organizations are in your state. What I will promise you I will do is I will, after I get back from this thing with my grandson, I will make a resource page on bikerdown.org. So it called like a call to action, or do you want to get involved? I could even do it on Motorcycle Rider News. Maybe that would be a better platform to put it on there. But we just need knowledge is power. And I think I end up saying that almost every week that I'm on here is knowledge.
True.
Knowledge is power. And the more you know, the more decisions, right or wrong, that one can make. I mean, I was just that's what I was going to say. I was just watching TV while I was getting ready. And there's this live chase in LA of this sport bike rider, and I'm not profiling it. He was clearly on a sport bike, no plates. And, there's two helicopters chasing him, the Popo's after him, and he's just bobbing and weaving. And then I don't know if you guys have ever been out there, but there was this, like, we call them clover leaf exits, where they're really sharp turns. This rider clearly does not know how to control that bike. And almost wiped out. But the lives that he put in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just the lives he put in danger. How hard is it to pull over and just, I don't care what you have going on in your life, you're either going to be dead or you're going to be in jail anyway.
Yeah.
And it's cooler to get home than it is to be on the 3 o'clock news. So anyway, but some of the things in Texas that they're working on, the Confederation of Clubs and Independents and the Texas Independent Advocacy Groups, we're talking about motorcycle profiling and law enforcement reform. No offense to anyone in law enforcement. I'm just reading the sheet. Right to repair and preservation of ice-powered motorcycles, which is electric motorcycles. And I was like, what do you mean
ice-powered? That's a sensitive word.
I was
these
like,
days.
ice-powered. I didn't know where you were going with that one. I was like,
there are these little people like pushing the bike. I didn't know.
Insurance parity and medical discrimination. Woo! I already read that. Okay, so then I read what is a right to repair initiative. I know we're all trying to keep a straight face. The first time I ever I had what I called it in case of emergency, and somebody's like, I don't want that ice card. Oh my gosh, yeah. So the right to repair, I don't know if many, I'm sure you guys know some motorcycle repair shops that are beginning to
a lot of money there.
That are beginning to complain that Harley and other manufacturers are making it very difficult to get parts, because what they want you to do is they want you to go to the dealership where you're going to get overcharged. They want to not make older parts as accessible. That will make you have to purchase a new bike, possibly. You know what I'm saying? They want, it's kind of like cars. It's really hard to get parts for a 2005 Hummer because they don't make them anymore, and stuff. And so that's part of it. Access to diagnostic tools and software. The manufacturers are making it very difficult to get a hold of that. Availability of repair manuals. You should be able to, on any bike, be able to go somewhere to some manufacturer and say, I need a 2012 whatever. They're making that ownership and data rights, cost and competition, and it's just really crazy to me that there even needs to be a conversation about this.
Yeah, no, I've been looking for a fan belt for my 77 Pacer, and I can't find one.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, it begins with a capital P.
They're weeding him out for a reason.
Yeah. But we're going to have on Motorcycle Rider News, I kind of did a spotlight of my friend Shannon in Nevada is out there. My friend Stump here from Colorado went out there. It's just really great. But, I will say is that most of the people that are going out there are quite a bit older than myself. Not Shannon, because she'll kill me if I imply that she's older than me. But what I'm saying is that we have a lot of old school bikers that have taken the lead. And we need to bring more new blood, more social media, more technology. We really need to get more actively involved in a sport that we all love so much. So, did he find the song?
Did you find the song? Oh, yeah. Can you play it? All right. Yeah, we're going to play that
All
song.
right, so I'm going to close out with this song. I'm going to stay on with you guys because I want to see your reaction. But if you would play it, and as I said, we'll post the link. So
is there a video with it too? It's just a song?
Oh,
okay.
So you watch
yeah.
it.
All right. So what's the name of the song again?
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. We're going to play a song called Heaven's Gate. It is a biker release song. Yeah, hit it, Chance.
There was a muscle guy. I wanted to watch the muscle guy.
I'll send you the link. Really listen to the words. It's really powerful.
They parked his bike right by the grave, laid down leather like flowers that fade. Wind whispering through that old pine like he's riding into the divine. No choir sang, just pipes and chrome, and boots that carried him back home. He lived for sunrises on open roads, gas-stained hands and heavy loads. Worked like hell, played just as hard, gave what he could and wore every scar. A man of grit, no need to boast. The ones who knew him loved him most. Ride me home, don't cry too long. Let the engine sing my song. Heaven's gates are open wide, and I ain't scared of the other side. I'm burning bright, now I'm gone, so fire it up and ride me home. Never needed much, just sky and road. Stories traded where the whiskey flowed. He had no crown, but he wore his name like a man who never played the game. He took the hits and still stood tall, said goodbye like he'd seen it all. Didn't settle down, but he sure looked deep. Some memories even death can't keep. His hands built dreams with grit and grind, and now his legend rides the line. In every storm and midnight run, you'll hear his voice in the setting sun. Ride me home through mountain air, where the stars still know I was there. Heaven's gates just swung out wide, and I'm taking that long last ride. No regrets, just the road I own. Ride me home. Tell my brothers to ride in line. Tell my sister I was doing fine. And if I don't make the pearly throne, at least I went out standing alone. He rode through pain, he rode through grace, with a quiet fire the time can't erase. Some folks chase dreams, he lived his truth, never let go of his restless youth. And now the skies, his open lane, a rebel soul free from pain. Ride me home like I always did, wind in my face, wild as a kid. It's just unknown. So twist that grip and ride me home. So fire up the steel and light the chrome. Let them hear me when you ride me home.
That was inspired.
Wow.
That was inspired by every biker that's lost their life. And at the request of Biker Down, Todd came up with that. So
Yeah,
I couldn't be prouder. And I just hope it goes viral and makes him a whole hell of a lot of money. But that song's for us. And that's the end of my Motorcycle Awareness Month, unless you all want really shitty video of me on a cruise boat in the.
I want a shitty video of a bar on the cruise boat. Yes, absolutely.
We want to see you at the slot machine.
There you go. Winner, chicken.
Winning.
You know, that's actually how John and I met. We talked online, and he's in this pirate costume, smoking a cigarette. He's drunk. I'm drunk. We're all drunk. And all of a sudden, he's like, "You're Lori Montoya." And I'm like, "You're John." It was like, oh my God, how great. But anyway, I love you guys. Ride safe. Please remember, if you go down, we step up. But you love the song?
Yes.
Love it. Should be played at every rally. Should be played. We're gonna play it.
I'm gonna reach out to this dude so we can get the rights to play it.
Yeah,
once in a while.
Yeah, hopefully Facebook won't take it down.
Oh, well, why don't you do this? Go on my page, because Todd thanked me, and just write him directly. He's a super great guy. He's, I want us to find him an artist that will, I don't want to say buy it, but buy it and make it big. You take it.
He needs to sing it.
He sang that perfectly,
no,
man.
That's not him singing. So he created it and stuff, but we need to get.
I got what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So we need, but he's trademarked it and it's on iTunes. It's all over, but we need to find that artist that will say, let's take this to #1. And I know this biker community and your network of people know somebody, but I'm going to reach out to Moonshine.
You know who would sing that? You know who would sing that song?
Besides Johnny Rizzo?
Johnny Rizzo, but Dave Bray.
Okay.
Dave Bray would knock that song out of the park.
I was thinking Jason Aldean too.
You're going a little higher, but I think Southbound 75 would be good too.
Ooh, they would be good too. Yeah.
Southbound 75 would knock that one too.
Well, listen, if you play it for him and put those people together and let's make something happen, because that is a song for us, and we don't get that very often. We take rock and roll songs and we find a way to resonate it, but that song is one of the first totally biker songs. And just imagine riding into the sunset, or sadly at a funeral, ride me home, don't cry for me. But anyway, God bless you guys.
God bless. Have a great time. And we'll talk to you later, Lori.
No worries. God bless.
Bye. Lori Montoya, Biker Down. All right, man. Welcome back to the award-winning 99% Radio Network here in the Fishbowl. Brought to you by the OBBM Network and sponsored by the Biker Wolf Pack at 737 The Wolf. Oh! Once again, this is all about Memorial Day, the meaning of Memorial Day. Hey, type in the comments what Memorial Day means to you.
And don't get it confused with Veterans Day.
And don't get it confused. And and a lot of people do get it confused with Veterans Day. And I want to welcome our two military members here. I want to United States Marine Corps veteran Jeffrey Gray and U.S. Army Ranger Gabriel Joseph. Thank you guys for being here today. You guys are allowed to respond.
Yes. Your mics are on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
They are real people.
Hi, sir.
They're not AI.
Today is a day of remembrance of those who served and made the ultimate sacrifice. So once again, we could be here today and we can live the life and we can speak freely to you about topics that we believe in. And if not for our military members who made that ultimate sacrifice, we would be living a totally different life within the United States. So, I'm going to start off with Gabriel. Gabriel, U.S. Army veteran, Ranger, been on many deployments, and you've gained a lot and you've lost a lot. One of the stories that you do have is about your grandfather, who was essential in World War II, Navajo code talker, right? That a lot of people do not know about. Share some of that with us and tell us what Memorial Day means to you, brother.
First and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's been a while since I've been here and greatly appreciate you guys for this opportunity. I had several of my grandfathers, mom's side and father's side as well, serve as Navajo code talkers during World War II. Before that, I would definitely have to say that serving the country and the people as a whole has kind of been in my family's bloodline, if you will. For example, I trace my bloodline back to the last Navajo chief that we had, Chief Manuelitu, who signed us into treaty with the U.S. government in 1868, which also released our people from being prisoners of war at Bosque Redondo. And in Navajo culture, tradition, and history, it's also known as a long walk. As we were forced marched, forced
Trail
marched.
of Tears, right?
The Trail of Tears was meant for is the name for the walk that the Cherokee, Choctaw, and other tribes, Osage Nation, a lot of the Oklahoma reservations that exist today were placed on as a result of the Trail of Tears. So there are many different walks that have been done forcefully by the United States government and the U.S. Army against American Indians, right? So essentially, when I think about Memorial Day, it all ties in, because in our culture as Native Americans, wherever you go in this country, even Canada, right? And one of the biggest things that we have reverence for is not just the flag, whether it be the United States flag or the Canadian flag, right? But that we have always been warriors as American Indians. I've had during my time in service, I've had guys, pick on me as a result, and like, hey, chief, or hey, I'm like, dude, no, we're not doing it. When you're lower enlisted, you definitely. I started out as a private one. By the time I left basic training, I was a E3, so I was a private first class. And oh man, where I really caught it was in basic training, because funny story about that, real quick. I graduated on the Navajo Nation. Our high school mascot was called the Window Rock Fighting Scouts. It was in a small community called Fort Defiance, Arizona. You've been there.
You've been there, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that
You-
Yeah. Gallup, New Mexico.
Gallup, New Mexico.
You familiar with Gallup, New
I know where
Mexico?
Scottsdale is.
All right, we're in the far corner of northern Arizona, near the New Mexico border, so right off of I-40. And so people think that because of my family's background and whatnot, that I was like, so gung ho to want to serve my country and whatnot. No, I lost a bet to a recruiter.
Oh.
That is how I enlisted. And when I did, I told the recruiter that I want to do something that is very difficult, that not much people go for, but it's kind of like unique. I just don't want to be your average infantryman type. He says, I got something for you. And so he digs it up and he says, U.S. Cavalry Scout.
I like it.
I looked dead at him and I said, dude, do you know who you're asking about this? To become a U.S. Cavalry Scout in a place where the U.S. Cavalry used to be stationed at in the 1800s, in the late 1860s,
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah.
I said, and on top of all that, I'm full American Indian. And you're asking me to be you. I said, you asked me to turn coat, man. I said, well, what the hell?
Well, he didn't judge you by your cover either. So you should take that.
So along with that, he says, you know what? I'll even sweeten the deal for you. I said, well, how much more sweeter can this deal get? He said, you ever thought about airborne? I said, what the hell is airborne? He says, yeah. Have you ever jumped out of an? I said, dude,
My husband's 82nd Airborne.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's where I started out with. I was part of the 82nd Airborne Division. In basic training, my DIs had given me a real hard time about, do you have any idea what the U.S. Army did to your people? I'm well aware, drill sergeant. I'm from a small place called Fort Defiance, Arizona. And I went to basic at Fort Knox. Little did I know that going into the 82nd Airborne Division, that I would be spending my first 9 months deployed overseas in Bosnia-Kosovo War in 98, 99. And we lost 2 of our guys from our unit. And up to that point, I never really cared personally about Memorial Day, mainly because it was kind of one of those deals that was kind of thrust upon us.
Right. Okay.
But I was also raised by my pops, my uncle. He was a Vietnam vet. And he did 2 tours in Vietnam, got there right as the Tet Offensive happened in 68. And he lost a lot, still deals with it today, right?
Like so many.
Oh, yeah.
Like so many.
Actually,
Yeah.
my father-in-law lives with me. He's an 85-year-old Vietnam vet. I'm a full-time caregiver until I have somebody come to my house and take care of him right now.
I'm pretty sure, like with most, like my pops, I grew up hearing 2 specific stories about bad days at work. And the only time he ever talked about it was when he is completely obliterated drunk. It's the only time he'll ever talk about it. And so, I remember asking him once, Dad, what about our grandfathers from World War II, the code talkers? He says, well, those guys were real heroes. Well, Dad, you went to a very unpopular war. You weren't drafted. You willingly went, right? So what makes you different from them, right? Shouldn't we not honor you as well?
Of course.
And the very first thing that he told me about Memorial, and it was on Memorial Day, and he said, don't ever get it mixed up, right? He says, number one, Memorial Day is for those who did not make it home, right? He says, Veterans Day is for everybody and anyone who served, right? He says, but the difference between me and your grandfathers, right? He said, is that the world needed them in a time when we were told that we could not speak our own language, that Christianity, religion was forced upon us. The same language that they were told not that they could not ever speak by law, right? This is federal law back in those times, right? That they couldn't practice our traditional ways, but yet they were needed to help pass messages between one another. And so, hey, you're up. Once you go ahead and relay this message and get it out there, and let's see. He says those guys were world savers.
Yes.
He says all I was a jungle rat.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, Dad, that's a little harsh, dude.
Yeah.
But the code talkers were essential in actually saving thousands of lives in World War II because of the messages that they were able to pass and the code that they were able to pass kept our troops mainly safe. Correct? Am I speaking out of? I mean,
I would definitely have to say that I remember growing up as a kid. I grew up around the majority of the original first 29 code talkers. All right. So I literally personally knew them because I used to, as a kid, growing up on a reservation, I was a sheep herder and livestock herder, if you will. And so it was an honor and privilege for me to be asked, like, hey, go herd his sheep for him. Okay. And so when I would, I guess at the time when when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, another war story, but looking back, it was like, yeah. And so it's like having the detailed inside story of what was not allowed to be shared or talked about openly. Right. I remember Old Man Kinsel.
Old Man Kinsel.
Living down the road.
Yeah.
Sat on his porch, I bet, with a shotgun.
No. He, all you know with Mr. Kinsel is that he had a shotgun, but the thing with him was that he said warfare taught him one thing, and that was the one thing that he always tried to truly live by, that all living things are sacred, which falls in line with cultural belief and tradition, right? But also that a weapon in a soldier's hand can also mean the breaking point of humankind. I didn't understand that.
That's another deep.
Yeah. And so for the longest time, he had the shotgun, but he mainly kept it around to protect his flock, if you will. Right. Unfortunately, we did lose Old Man about 2 years ago. And get this, we want to talk about Memorial Day when I lost my great grandfather, who was a code talker. Right. I just remember seeing, I could swear probably at least a quarter of the Navajo Indian reservation, Navajo Nation population show up for his funeral. Right. And that was Senator John Pinto. He was a representative in the state of New Mexico. And to have so many world leaders, to include our then who is now president again, President Trump, make a direct call to our family and to say thank you for your grandfather's service. Right.
Nice.
And to see our roads on his funeral path, his procession, and seeing so many of our Navajo people out there holding the U.S. flag and holding the flag of the Navajo code talkers, right? And just waving as they went by.
Respect.
That's when I knew the importance of what losing a warrior of the people meant because he wasn't. I always looked at him as a fighter, but it wasn't until going through my own experiences that I defined the difference between a warrior and a fighter. Right.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was a warrior, which meant that he served and lived and fought for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One of the reasons why he got into politics to begin with was that he fought for the people with explosives and guns and bullets and bombs. Right. He said World War II, especially the Marshall Islands, taught him one thing about humankind. Hojuna Dolech Nahasago is what he would say.
Say it again.
Hojunago Dolech Nahasago.
One more time.
Hojuna Dolech Nahasago.
I'm not even.
I can't.
I'm wanting to.
Whoa, yeah, that's.
I feel like at Masago.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I'm just hearing Danielson.
I don't know. I'm just saying like
Hojunago
warrior language
in
and
that
all that.
language.
A
meaning
Shugano?
like,
A Shugano?
Hojuna.
Hashu? Hashu?
Hojune.
Not a
Aju.
Jew, you fucking Italian.
I don't want to butcher such a sentimental. I don't want to butcher such a sentimental statement. So I'm not even going to try it.
So his way of explaining it the best way that he could in our language was that, which means to be upon this earth in a peaceful way. I knew that there had to be a better way to defend not only the people, but this country. He said, and to be able to be in front and at the table with all these other white leaders of this country and of the state, right? He said, it gave me a new perspective and perception of what my life was going to be. He said, I found purpose in that.
Wow.
He says, but I never forget the Marines, my fellow Marines that I fought with on those islands.
I didn't bring crayons.
You know,
There was a bowl out.
you know, the Navajo Nation has, if not the highest percentage of Marines that enlist, you know, even to this day, right? There's two ways that a Navajo kid will end up enlisting to the military. Either he's going to be a double dog or he's going to be a dog face, which is the Army.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's always a competition, and we always find something to pick on about the Navajo kids who end up going to the Navy, Air Force. Like, what's wrong with you, dude?
Well, I'm going to transition. Thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. But I want to, transition into you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Gray, United States Marine Corps. Jeff, what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Mine's quite a little bit different than his, but they're all the same. And what it means is, and it goes kind of back to when we walked the bridge. Everybody that died for their country gave the ultimate sacrifice. That's Memorial Day to me. We have to never forget them. And if we always say their name, they will never be forgotten. That would be the biggest thing I could say. And as long as we keep them alive like him, he's keeping his family alive. As long as we remember them for what they've done for us.
Right.
And that's the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, is that we are honoring those that gave the ultimate sacrifice, no matter what war or wherever. Even today, when they die, they've given the ultimate sacrifice for their country, and we have to always remember them.
Memorial Day used to be called, when it first came up, it was called Decoration Day. And, to give you a little backstory on what Decoration Day is, it's when they would go out and they would put flowers and place wreaths at the graves of those who have fallen. They would decorate the graves. So it was initially called Decoration Day, and it transitioned into Memorial Day for those who we've lost. And, you know, both of you gentlemen and veterans have seen your share of loss.
Too many.
Too many. You know, I want to get into one thing, if you don't mind, because she means a lot to you. But I know these two right here mean a lot to you as well, because although they did not die in battle, they died from the battle.
Yep.
You know, and once again, I'm not going to butcher their names, and I want to honor them. I'm sorry. This is your cousin.
Yes.
This is your cousin and your brother,
Mm-hmm.
who ended up taking their lives because of the battle that they fought for us.
Yeah.
And though they didn't die in combat, and Memorial Day does not encompass our veterans who come back wounded and perish from self-inflicted wounds, I want to honor your family today, Gabriel, on this show because of the services that they gave to our country.
Thank you.
So please, if you, like I said, I didn't want to say their names because I didn't want to butcher them, but please say their names.
Specialist Joshua J.B. Kanawiti. 2 July 2019, 28 years old. Sergeant First Class John P. Totolina. 2 November 2019, 45 years old. Cut deep, and I lost them both. John and I attended the same basic training in Fort Knox, Kentucky. He was several years ahead of me. He got to go to airborne school. When Iraq came around, we had found out years later down the road that we had actually missed each other out on the battlefield by about 3 days. And that was the last time I would have got to see him. I last saw him really in 2002 when I came back from Afghanistan. Memorial Day since 2019 has taken a personal tone for me, mainly because remembering my brothers, like my literal brothers, and before that, and ever since, you know, Lori Piestewa. Yeah.
I was going to bring that up, and let me give you the honor in this, because, you know, you were on a mission. Lori Piestewa, she was Navajo
and Hopi
Indian. And she came from, you knew her prior, from the reservation, and she was assigned to a transport group, and her group came under attack. And if you remember the story back with Jessica Lynch, when Jessica Lynch and her whole unit was taken captive, you were on that rescue team that stormed that hospital that morning and rescued Jessica Lynch. But Jessica was the only living survivor of that unit.
There were several other surviving members, but she got the most attention because she was a female, and it was unheard of at that point in time to have a female combatant, or rather a female soldier of the United States military, to ever been captured in war.
But Lori did not survive that capture.
No, she did not. She died of her wounds sustained in a gun battle with the enemy while trying to defend her colleagues in her unit. And
you mind if it was the atrium, if I remember correctly, like you told me, the atrium of this hospital in the dirt in the atrium is where she was recovered, correct? Was that?
Yes, along with 8 other fallen service members that at that point in time, I personally didn't have any knowledge of that. So just real quick flashback back into that, several years ago, as a result of you and several other good brothers, I was able to reconnect with the guy who actually scrapped that entire mission together at a moment's notice.
By a voice.
By a voice. I remembered him by his voice. And somebody sent me a YouTube video of the actual rescue. And I finally got to see that for the first time, like only 4 months ago.
Wow.
And this happened on April 1st, 2003.
Wow.
And yeah, and I had no idea the footage even exists. But if you guys were to go in there and find that video, and you hear doors crunching and rounds being shot, me and my guys, because we were the door breakers for Pathfinder and them,
Yes.
and his teammate.
Yep. Pathfinder
Yeah.
and his wife, Meg.
Yeah.
They run an organization out of the East Coast. And we'll share that at another point in time. But thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Once again, I because I don't want to burn too much time. Jeffrey, where did you serve? And like I said, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into the Marine Corps, besides crayons and
Those came later on.
those came later. And what the future held for you when you joined.
Well, I needed direction out of high school, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me is I just got the push. And, you know, when you show up to Marine Corps boot camp, at least when I did, it was a shock. I mean, from going from a long hair dude to a bald in 5 seconds, and your whole world changed, and so did his when we actually stepped on the yellow footprints for us. Your whole world changed. Taught me a lot, learned a lot, saw a lot. Didn't see as much as he did, but I went overseas. As a first thing I probably did is I was in artillery. I learned in 29 Palms, California. And then I went to an embassy duty in Sofia, Bulgaria, and Vienna, Austria. And what I learned from there, just showing how great a country we have, what we have compared to what they don't have. And then I came back and went to Okinawa, Japan, traveled aboard ship for many months. Went all over to these, places. That's got to see Iwo Jima and where all these battles took place. And it shocks me today how many men and women died in that location.
It's funny. It's funny you say that when you say women.
There was
right?
women.
Because people don't
Nurses.
understand, even in World War II, women were nurses. Even though they were not on the battlefield, they did, they were there in the MASH units. They were there serving. And when those MASH units were attacked or things happened, women did
And they were
perish.
tortured too. They wasn't just, they were prizes. And same thing as he'll tell you about the Navajos. They were hunted down.
They were bartered.
They were really, the Japanese wanted wanted them alive and use them as a bait, as you might say,
girl.
to get more of us. That's one thing we do. We don't leave men, we don't leave our guys behind. We'll go back and get them even if it costs us more lives. It's just the way it's in our DNA. It's what we're taught. We're brothers. And see, we call each other brothers.
Taught you a code.
Yeah,
Taught you a
you're
code.
taught that from me. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. It's resonated into our lives today. It came back to me. I got a mission. You know what my mission is?
Yep.
Is to make sure that just because they didn't die in combat, you said it, combat took their lives. And I don't like to say this suicides with the military and first responders are much different than a person just gets up. Of course, they had demons too, but I mean, this is little things that we could not imagine what they saw. I can't imagine what he saw, and the demons they lost. But our job, me and Gabriel, there's two parts of the Memorial Bridge. There's the part we walk on, and then there's a memorial part now. Our job is to keep those being transferred to there. That's why we walk. We walk. We don't walk for each other. We walk for them.
Right.
And those who, like Memorial Day and Veterans Day, Memorial Day is different because we're walking for those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country, men and women.
Once again, where the rubber meets the road, the boots hit the ground, and it's still rubber hitting the road. And if you see in our the logo that is in our feed right now for Carry the Load. Now, Carry the Load. Speaking about walking, we have many from 5 different states across the country, from as far as West Point, New York, to up in Seattle, Washington, that have spent the last month, 30 days, walking from Seattle, Washington, from New York, from different points around the country. They spent the last 30 days walking, and they will all meet here in Dallas on Saturday at Rivershon Park for Carry the Load to honor our fallen heroes. Come out to Rivershon Park on Saturday and cheer these people on as they walk into that park, because they've made a 30-day trek through weather, through whatever they had to put up, tornadoes, whatever. They've walked, and you'll get to see them enter Rivershon Park on Saturday and Sunday for Carry the Load.
Yeah, I'll be
and that's what it's all about. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both. I want to thank you both for being here and taking the time to share your stories, share what the bridge is all about. We walk it here in Fort Worth on the 3rd Sunday of every month. We meet at the EECU building off 7th Street. You guys walk at Rockwall on Heroes Memorial Bridge.
And we need to get more people. We were just talking about that. We got to do a better job. We talked about that, getting a better job of getting people out there to come help us. Even if it's just me and him, fine. But we need to get the word out more. We've talked about that. We're going to be really bumping it up in the future.
It's not about the numbers. I just want to say it's not about the numbers, because we walked with 3 people. We walked with 3 people at Fort Worth this week, and we still got the message across. I still got over 1,000 views.
Yeah, the views are big. Yeah.
So the message is going across. We share these through social media, and I want to give a big shout out to Johnny Rizzo, one of his people out there, Brian Horn, up in the Catskills, who started Walk the Bridge at the bridge in the Catskills, Rip Van Winkle Bridge, and he had a nice turnout. We were getting text messages on how to be part of that. Your words, your shares have power. If they save one life, change one perspective, make somebody smile, you've done your job. You can't save everybody, but you know what? If you could help that one person,
pay it forward.
That one person becomes many.
That's right. And that one person becomes many.
Don't be a dick, be kind.
You heard it from Pitbull. Don't be a dick. Be kind.
That's all it takes. Just saying.
Be a happy dick. Be a happy dick.
Don't be
All right, guys. On that, it's always good to end such a somber note with
leave it to me.
Leave it to Pitbull.
You're going to get a T-shirt now with that on.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
How many customers do I get per show?
Yeah. Well, once again, and I want to thank Jeffrey for bringing this. This has been flying on Heroes Memorial Bridge since is the date on it?
It's been about a year.
been over a year,
Yeah.
and it says Heroes Memorial
It's gone
Bridge.
through everything. You can tell the color's gone and it's tore up.
It became a little tattered, and I will take care of this. I will put it in its proper case,
We're all a little tattered.
and
We're still good.
We're all tattered in a
We're
way.
all tattered in a way.
you're right, and we are still good.
We're still pretty.
Even broken crayons.
And some
still
of them
color.
some of us need to be put in a case.
I will put it in a case. All right. Well, once again, thank you guys for being here today. Remember, take their words and absorb them, share them, spread them out, and you know what? Honor our veterans this Memorial Day. Put down the hamburger, put down the beer. Don't worry about the mattress sale. Just say a prayer for our fallen,
In between
their families.
your burgers and your beers. In
Yeah.
between your beers.
There's nothing wrong with celebrating. There's nothing wrong with
Just remember why
celebrating.
you're doing it.
I'm celebrating y'all
But just
because they did what they did.
Just
so
don't forget.
I can celebrate the way I'm celebrating.
right, but just don't forget them.
I never forget.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
But they
All
are
right.
the reason we were able to do what we can do.
That's right. And speaking about doing what we can do, we're going to be back after this with some flex and our biker health. Stay.
What we believe in at Glenn Larson Law is doing one thing and doing it really well. When I meet people, I always tell them we're going to uncover every single rock possible. That's the medical component, that's your story, and your voice.
We've solely focused on personal injury, whether that be a slip and fall accident or a commercial 18-wheeler, a motorcycle or DWI, motor vehicle accident. We specialize in that and that only.
When someone says, my neck really hurts, I know exactly how that feels. There's so much more to an injury case dealing with the pain level that people go through and how it affects their lives. And I know how to advocate to make sure that the insurance companies take all of that in consideration in every case.
We're very transparent and open to always keep them informed and stay on top of their case at all times.
Because we're a little bit smaller in team numbers, we're able to really dive into every single case and develop not only a client relationship, but a friendship and a lifelong connection.
We're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll meet you anywhere, at the scene, in the hospital, at your home. Whatever's best for the client, we will do every single time.
There is a connection component that I believe our firm is committed to. We want to be connected with you and your family beyond this case so that you know that you have a lifelong partner. Not just a case, but a lifelong connection and a lifelong voice. And we look forward to serving you.
Welcome back, and thank you for listening to Flex Talk. Today's show, a little different. I got some feedback over the last couple months. Things to talk about, topics that either hit somebody's funny bone to being serious about recovery on your bikes and nutrition and fitness. So first one I want to start out with is the quest for the ideal snack. Somebody told me, said, "Oh my God, all the foods in the gas stations. Do I pick the Snickers? Do I pick the protein bar? Do I pick the beef jerky?" Well, this is my thing on that. I would try to be more proactive and maybe plan out your meals before you leave. I don't know. I mean, you think about it, you're on your bike. Yeah, I know it's easy to stop at the gas station, but are you really fueling yourself for the long ride? You know, there's a lot of things with dehydration, cramping, heat. I mean, there's multiple things that you need to be on point with your bike. And somebody's, and I appreciate it, Kevin, for letting me know that, that nutrition's not always high on your priority on your bike, but you did express that alcohol was. So next we're going to talk about, and actually, let me see, are you back on yet?
I'm always on.
All right. So let's talk about this. You'll appreciate this. I had somebody tell me about, really, you want to stretch? You're telling me I need to do yoga for motorcycle riding for flexibility on
I
two
get the
wheels?
stretching part because I've had some hard times getting off the bike and I can feel like I didn't stretch. I can tell I didn't stretch.
Right.
It's just, that's not something that's in my normal realm of things to do. So
Right.
I don't know if I'm doing it right. And if I do, I feel stupid when I do it. So
Well, Kathy says, she goes, when I talked about yoga and stretching, she goes, I'm trying to picture a biker trying to practice a downward dog during a
That's
break and
what
attempting to do a tree pose while he's balancing on his back.
yes. And I'm picturing that before he gets on the bike. Like they're all like having a yoga session before they get,
Yeah,
mount
we all
up.
pull over on the side of the road. We're all doing the downward
Before
dog, the
kickstands up.
cobra.
Stretch.
Great.
Yeah.
So my thing is this, guys, is you don't have to do hot yoga. You don't have to do a serious hour class. My thing is the things that are going to tighten up on you on the road. Have some fun with it, but be cautious about what you're doing. Now, let's get that one. So those two were out of the way. Got a couple more. What did he say? I'm not even going to spandex and leather. I'm not going to touch that one. Can't do it.
Go into lace and leather.
I know, right? But they were like, is it more comfort? And because, bikers are supposed to wear leather, but then they're saying, well, for comfort,
It's
wear
safety
spandex.
and
Mm.
spandex. No, that's
this is
gonna
what she
melt
is.
right to your skin. I think that's not
But as a
safety.
female rider,
As a female rider, I wouldn't put spandex on.
you wouldn't put spandex?
I
What
would
about
not.
those yoga pants? Would you
No,
wear
I
those?
would not.
Okay.
It'd be jeans or leathers.
Good.
I have been guilty of wearing shorts. I am guilty of doing that sometimes because it is freaking hot here. But I'm wearing my boots, so I'm not hitting the tailpipe. But yeah, I am exposed, and I realize I am exposed afterwards when I'm,
Yeah, we think
I don't do
about
it as
that.
much anymore.
Gotcha. And the last one, let's see. Talk about, eating right on the road. They say the struggles of incorporating nutritious foods like broccoli and quinoa into the biker lifestyle. Cooking healthy meals at roadside picnics are probably not ideal unless you're barbecuing, but usually there's beer with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that focus on your whole foods. Focus on the things that are going to give you that energy. If it's something that can break down your body, your chips, your candy, your cakes, your Zuzus, Wham Whams, all that good stuff that's delicious at the point. But if it's only going to take the body 30 minutes to break it down, how long do you think that fuel is going to last in your body?
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So wouldn't there be if the way to go about it for bikers is find more foods that would keep them full longer so they don't feel like they need to snack?
100%.
So have a big breakfast before kickstands up. Make sure you eat before. You're not just going, I'm just going to go to the QT. I'm going to pick a coffee and a Slim Jim and I'll be good till the next stop. But then you're going there now. I'm starving. I want a taquito and I want all these things. And so, yeah, it's about maybe doing bigger portions maybe when you're riding.
Bigger. Well, I would say
Or-
yes. Carb load. I would think if you're going on the long rides, a carb load would be the best idea. And as you're tapering off for the evenings, make sure that you're tapering off more on your proteins and less on your carbs.
Now, maybe that would be maybe a little different for the women because I know there are women riders, but there are a lot of women riders that are behind their men on the bike, and it's a fatiguing. You can get tired being a passenger. I mean, maybe more hydrating fruits and vegetables while they're traveling instead of like the heavy stuff that makes them tired being a passenger princess. I don't know. Things like that to also look at.
What about hydration? I mean, I know that we don't have a bunch of juice boxes and water bottles on our bike. What,
No.
you know, what's,
Pedialyte. That's,
Oh, it's
that's my
Pedialyte.
go-to is Pedialyte.
Pedialyte? What
Yeah.
about you? What about you?
Especially here in Texas. I just hydrate
The sweat
with
of my
water.
enemy's tears.
What I'll do is I'll take
or something
I'll
like
take
that, right?
like my cup that I have here,
Mhm.
fill it up with ice water, and I'll throw lemon or lime in there,
Okay.
just to give it some taste. But hydration is important. But like you said, instead of stopping at those QTs,
Well, that's
little
wherever the meeting point
right,
is.
but a little proper planning prior to the ride
Mhm.
on your food intake
Mhm.
could really benefit you a lot.
True. And something that I learned from an Indian friend of mine, he told me about the camel diet when it comes to hydration, where he'll get about at least 40 to 50 ounces of his water before 9 a.m.
That's what I was going to say. Like, my biggest hydration part is in the morning. If I
Yeah.
don't get it in the morning, I'm not going to get it because I get so lost in everything that I don't hydrate as much as I'm supposed to. So if I don't get it first thing in the morning, I feel like that's also important. Like, get it out of the way. Get the couple glasses you can. You're going to be on a long ride. Get the water in. Get the food in. Plan. That's the way I think. When you say plan, a lot of people think, oh, I got to pack my lunch. No, I'm not
Well-
necessarily saying that. You got to plan because you got to eat prior.
When
before you go.
but when you think about it, all right, packing your lunch, right?
You're going to have your lunchbox on there.
No, but you know what? A snap can of tuna,
Yeah,
right?
You're going to be that guy.
A snap can of tuna on a long ride, instead of stopping at a gas station and grabbing a hot dog, snap can of tuna.
You're gonna have to convince a lot of big, heavy dudes.
I
to
know. I'm
snap some
just
fucking
saying.
Well,
I mean,
tuna
I
on
don't
the
think
side
I
of
would.
the
I
damn
don't think I would
highway.
ever.
Also they
I'm
open.
just saying,
I'm
you
just
know?
saying, you open that can on the bike. That's going.
Well, you
to
got the
smell
Mary
funny.
edition. Just don't put it in the saddlebag when you're
Ah,
done.
you know, well, you fit. Come on, in a little can. You eat the whole thing, man. You throw it off to the side of the road.
Now, I will say the hydration thing. I treat the water kind of like leg day. I want to get it out of the way first. When I start my routine for the week, I want to hit legs.
At least you do leg
I don't
day.
get it.
Guys, don't skip leg day. Don't be a bar stool bod.
That's right.
Just saying.
Do not skip leg day. Start with it. That way you enjoy the rest.
We got Johnny Rizzo on here. He says, "Here we go. Now I feel fat." Johnny was on the show 2 weeks ago,
Hey, Johnny.
and that's when we had Lone Star Cuisine here with the amazing spread of barbecue food that they put out here, and Johnny was just in awe, and he didn't know.
wrap
Oh my
barbecue
God, he didn't know what to
biscuits,
eat.
Everything, heart attack.
And then he says last night on his show, he goes, "Here I'm sitting next to this chiseled dude." He goes, and I kind of felt bad about eating it. He goes, "But you know what? Screw it. I ate it
I
anyway."
didn't feel bad at all.
Hey, I got to rub his belly on it, so it was a win-win.
Hey, your name's Johnny Steaks.
Yeah, Johnny Steaks. Johnny Steaks.
But the hydration, the food, and we'll dive more on it. But it was just, I love hearing the feedback from people that talk to me after the show. And the funny thing was, I love the comment about the yoga and doing the downward dog on a rest. If anybody sees anybody ever does it, send me a picture, please do. All right.
I want to see somebody doing a yoga move on their seat, like the hole with their hands on top.
Oh yeah.
On their
yeah.
their seat doing the whole. I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna do the cobra.
So you're kind of doing like, are we now jumping into like bike yoga?
Huh?
We're doing bike yoga.
Well, they
now?
have goat yoga.
Is
So we
yoga
could
a
be
part
like-
of fitness?
We could do
I
yoga
thought I
where you
did bike for
balance
fitness.
yourself on the bike. Like
Well,
goats
that's a
do-
dangerous thing to be doing, man.
Like the goats, you have goat yoga.
They
You're,
walk-
you're
but-
laying there and they
but-
lay on you and they walk on you
Yeah.
and they
You know
shit
what?
on
I
you
would
and shit.
definitely-
All right,
I would
then we
definitely
ru-
do-
So here's an idea.
A deer?
Goat yoga, right?
Goat
Goat yoga? Goat
The
yoga?
goat walks on your
A lot
back.
of R's
All right,
there.
so we'll get a whole bunch of yoga people out there, and we can drive over them with the bikes.
Wow.
That was not exactly.
That's
Where
bike
did you-
yoga.
I think you pulled that one
I
right
was
out of your
thinking
ass.
the balancing on the bike. Like you're on the seat because when the bike's on the kickstand, Okay, next, keep going, Flex.
Are we good? Are we
Keep
good?
going.
John derailed me.
We
I
are
don't know.
crashed
All right.
and burning right
Johnny
now.
says, so I guess clipping a bag of chips to my windshield is not good.
Actually, that's genius.
I think it's perfect.
I think that's.
I think it's
genius.
perfect.
Actually,
You
they just fly up. Oh, there's no video of me doing that.
know?
All right. So next up, I wanted to say something. I want to give a shout out. I love success stories, especially with this gentleman here. Mike Hall. He was an avid long distance motorcyclist, was hit by a car while riding home one evening. And the crazy thing is, man, I've seen so many bikes down lately. I get it. We get every day I see somebody going, that I hear about something going down. It's reported. So this right here really, stuck out. The accident left him with multiple injuries, including a broken leg, several fractures, and requiring extensive surgeries and rehabilitation. Now, determined to regain his strength and return to biking, Mike focused on holistic recovery plan. Here's what he did. Nutrition facts. Balanced diet. Mike consulted with the nutritionist to develop a meal plan that emphasized proteins, healthy fats, and plenty of fruits and vegetables that helped his body heal faster and maintain energy. The hydration part, he made it a point to stay hydrated, which is crucial to recovery. I know when I tore my quad from the bone, the elasticity of the tendons and the muscles, they need to be lubricated. You need to drink, you stay hydrated. So he made it a point to stay hydrated, and this included drinking plenty of water, incorporating electrolytes, your Pedialyte, to replace when he lost during therapy sessions. Physical rehabilitation. He also followed a rigorous rehabilitation program, which included physical therapy sessions focusing on building strength and mobility in his injured leg. Low impact exercise. While he began with low impact activities like swimming and cycling on stationary bikes, he gradually increased intensity and his strength returned. Mindset and motivation. Throughout his recovery, Mike maintained a positive mindset. He visualized himself back on the road, which kept him motivated. He leaned on his family and friends for support, sharing his progress and challenges. Their encouragement played a crucial role in his mental resilience. The comeback after months of hard work, Mike was finally cleared to ride again. He started with short rides to build his confidence and gradually prepared for longer distances. His dedicated to nutrition and recovery paid off, and he even participated in an endurance biking event a year after his accident. Mike, that's amazing.
Now, yes. Now, a year. So the recovery was a year. Now, what was the injuries again?
He had a broken leg. He had several fractures, and he had quite a bit of surgeries.
Now, without the proper nutrition, without the proper mindset and all that support and everything else that you were talking about, that recovery would have been a lot longer than that.
It would, because you think about it. I mean,
even a broken leg.
To ride. I mean,
I have
think
to
about
agree
not.
with this. Like, I have my own experience. I broke my back a few years ago, and I completely exploded my L3. And I was in my early 20s, and I was a centimeter away from being paralyzed from the waist down. I mean, it was that close. And it was all about nutrition. I mean, I was already kind of in that round. It wasn't until later that I got where I'm at with the beer and all that stuff. But at that point, I was really into like organics and like everything. And
organic beer?
Well, there is actually, but no, I mean like in the clean eating and stuff.
Yes.
And from going from a centimeter away from being paralyzed from the waist down and like learning to walk again, and in 6 months getting back to being active and being on the boat, and a year later being back snowboarding and taking the exact same trick that I did the year prior that fucked me up. But in doing that, it was all on nutrition, I have to say, because if I was just going to sit on my ass and like be sedentary and, surrender to what happened and not be active, I would have not been here.
I totally agree. And to piggyback off that, it's what it's like just being in the wintertime and it gets too cold or raining where you can't ride your bike. There's a depression set in just on that.
Right.
I know with this, my goal was to be back on my bike in 3 months. Now I hit that goal, but it took a lot of work. It did. And I've seen people that have regressed and went backwards.
Let me ask you, was it a lot of work or was it just a lot of changes?
No, it was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. It really was. I mean, the quadrant, I mean, this looked anorexic, and this looked, because this got big and this one got, I mean, it looked deformed. And there's the full mobility, being able to bring the leg back. Some of the things that you just do, that you don't even think about, if it wouldn't have been for the recovery, the support system, the nutrition, and staying with it, I've seen people take 2-3 years and they still have a limp, or they didn't follow suit, or they gave up on riding, or depression kicked in. Next thing you know, they've gained 50, 60, 100 pounds.
Right.
So a support system's always good. Love the ones you're with, but when it comes down to it, if you eat like crap, you better have some portion control. If you
hear that, Johnny, you hear that, Johnny?
Johnny, if you like, for those that like to drink,
Portion
Why are
control.
you picking on
Does alcohol hydrate you or
Okay,
dehydrate
we're not getting
you?
down. We're not talking about alcohol. We're talking about.
We're
food.
talking about that right now.
We're talking about food, not
So
alcohol.
I'm trying to give some tips there, people. If you're going to drink,
I've been
why
drinking
not?
this much since I was younger, and I've been maintaining my weight just fine. Just kidding. Okay, fine.
Well, your metabolism's better than some.
Not really.
But
It's
does
just like-
alcohol dehydrate you or hydrate you?
absolutely dehydrate you?
Okay. So how about we counter that? If we're out on rides and we're doing that, if we have a drink, let's have a glass of water, a bottle of water.
Yeah. Or
Match
your
one
vodka
for one.
Mio. Yeah.
Because if not,
What?
your Mio.
VO.
Vodka and Mio water.
Oh,
You said
Mio.
vodka and Mio?
Mio. The water. Squirt it.
In the
water.
vodka.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
water in the
no,
vodka?
Water.
Oh, I thought you're
What?
saying put vodka and Mio and water
That's
together. I'm
right.
like,
I was with you. I thought you were saying just put the Mio in the vodka and you got it.
But then add that to water. Guys, make me out to look bad. Alcoholics over here. I'm just kidding.
But she's got her water bottle,
That is your water bottle.
and it's not even open.
well, guys, thanks for letting me have on. That was the conclusion of my show. I'll be back next week. I have a special guest we're waiting to confirm, but we've been trying to get him on for a while. I don't want to put him out there until I know for sure.
Okay.
But Sam, I'm not saying anything, but I am. But other than that, thanks for letting me be on, guys.
Appreciate it.
The biker world, I love it. And guys, stay safe, eat right, get some exercise, be careful on the bike, love the ones you're with. Flex, I'm out.
All right, man. I appreciate it, Flex. That was Flex with Biker Fitness. Fitness is such an important spot of the biker world, and it's the most neglected things that we do. We take better care of our bikes than we do our bodies. We're going to come back right after this with the Mongo Log.
Hey, what do you say? This whole town could be red by the end of the day. If you feel alright, we can throw it in drive. With the radio up so loud they can hear us from miles. Me and you, nothing to do. These days they come and go. Me and you, nothing to lose. I feel it in my soul. Let's let the good times roll.
What we believe in at Glenn Larson Law is doing one thing and doing it really well. When I meet people, I always tell them we're going to uncover every single rock possible. That's the medical component, that's your story and your voice.
We've solely focused on personal injury, whether that be a slip and fall accident or a commercial 18-wheeler, a motorcycle or DWI, motor vehicle accident. We specialize in that and that only.
When someone says, my neck really hurts, I know exactly how that feels. There's so much more to an injury case dealing with the pain level that people go through and how it affects their lives. And I know how to advocate to make sure that the insurance companies take all of that in consideration in every case.
We're very transparent and open to always keep them informed and stay on top of their case at all times.
Because we're a little bit smaller in team numbers, we're able to really dive into every single case and develop not only a client relationship, but a friendship and a lifelong connection.
We're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll meet you anywhere, at the scene, in the hospital, at your home. Whatever's best for the client, we will do every single time.
There is a connection component that I believe our firm is committed to. We want to be connected with you and your family beyond this case so that you know that you have a lifelong partner. Not just a case, but a lifelong connection and a lifelong voice. And we look forward to serving you.
Mongo! Santa Maria!
Never mind that shit. Here comes Mongo. Got him.
Oh, Mongo.
Hey,
Welcome,
what's up?
Mongo.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, nothing much, brother. Hey, before you get into your Mongo log, I want to let everybody know Mongo is a retired law enforcement, and he's also a United States Marine veteran. So, and Mongo, you live by a code of law enforcement. You also live by a code of the military. You've structured your life around that way. I want to get your perspective on what Memorial Day means to you. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but just off the cuff.
No,
Yeah,
we are.
well, yeah. So it's the military and the veterans that have come before me, those that we've lost and those that have survived. It was the way I was raised. I was raised by my stepfather, who is a Navy veteran. He's a retired command master chief. He served on submarines for many years, did several tours in Vietnam. My wife, Roxy, her oldest brother is a retired Air Force colonel. He flew Wild Weasel missions in the Gulf War. I'm a veteran. My brother's an Army veteran. He served in Somalia. My son is a Marine Corps veteran who served, enlisted for 5 years, got out, got educated, went back in, and he's now an F-18 pilot in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
So the military has kind of been part of the fabric of my entire life. So I see military service as something that is definitely needed by this country. And thank goodness for those that have chosen to serve and those that continue to serve.
Yeah, but with Memorial Day, there is confusion. A lot of people who have not grown up around the military aspect or did not have families within the military circle, they celebrate Memorial Day. They don't know that it's about our fallen and not about our active.
Right. Well, and for the most part, that's a lot of people understand Memorial Day as a military thing. They just don't understand what. But for the most part, people see Memorial Day as, hey, I'm going to the river this weekend with my buddies. I'm going to be drinking beer and water skiing with the family. Yeah, it's a great holiday. It starts the summer season, but it's in remembrance of those that we've lost that have served our country.
Right. And that's what we have to do. It's like I said before, it's okay to celebrate. It's okay to barbecue. It's okay to crack some beers. It's okay to go out on the river. It's okay to enjoy life.
Because you're celebrating the reason
right
why you were able to is because of those people that made the sacrifice.
But just take that moment with family and friends. Raise a beer.
Say a little something.
Right. Raise a beer to those who
pour a little out for your homies.
Who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
If you're not doing anything this weekend, you're probably going to maybe watch a little TV. I'm sure there's going to come a point in time where you're going to see a PSA on the local network for Memorial Day. Take that second and realize what they've done for you.
Yes. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes.
Yep. Without a doubt, we would be living a different life if it was not for those fallen military veterans.
It was when I was younger. Actually, my dad is a retired full bird colonel in the Army, and I remember when I was a little kid, You
A little
know?
kid.
A little kid. And I didn't know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Like, it was just a holiday you got off for school, and you
Yeah,
had a 3-day weekend, and I didn't really quite know. And I remember somebody, and this was before Facebook, somebody brought a picture of their dad to, it was a show and tell, you know,
Right.
about like Memorial Day was coming up, but they showed a picture of their dad, and then their dad wasn't dead yet. Or if that sounded really insensitive, but he was still alive. And so I remember the teacher talking about the difference of that. And then me going home and talking to my dad about like, what's the difference? And it wasn't until then that it was like, oh, it's not. Because to me as a kid,
You're
it was
right.
it was a military holiday. And
Yep.
we got a 3-day weekend, and it was about grilling and being with your friends.
Right.
Until I got older, and then, you know, my dad's still
And
being
educated.
Right.
Right.
You know, because I'm educated.
Educated.
I'm educated. I went to the Kansas University. But yes, it was like, it means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, and like as you get older too, and you start seeing, and also as you get older, you meet your veterans.
Yes.
You don't necessarily go somewhere. You might just be behind them in a grocery line or something, and you happen to have a conversation, but it starts to build on your respect.
Like with the Don Graves. When you
Yes.
hear the stories of, and you more than myself, but like do those roll call benefits, and you meet these guys from World War II and the Vietnam era, and you hear their
Yes,
stories.
and you hear the stories as
and the
veterans, right? And this is where like the line gets a little gray a little bit. So I'm hearing stories from veterans. Yes, so that's Veterans Day. Yes, my veterans. I'm hearing stories, but they're talking about people that have fallen and people that they served with
Yes.
that have been are no longer with
Their
us.
brothers that they fought
Yes, so
alongside.
that's
Yes.
Memorial Day. Is
Yes.
hearing the story of like Don Graves. You've heard Don Graves talk to
Yes.
us multiple times about how he was on that fucking boat, and that door opens, and he goes, and boom, boom, boom.
The people he was
There was
talking
maybe
to,
like 3 or 4 of them that made it off that boat, and he was one of them. Man, I mean,
Yeah.
that's insane.
his brothers who he was speaking to not 5 seconds before.
Oh yeah.
You know, he told me a story that he was on the beach over at Iwo Jima, and he was laying head in
down.
the sand with
And then
the guy next to him just
gone.
just obliviated. And you know,
This is what Memorial Day is about. This is why we talk about them every year. We
Yeah.
need to remember every fucking sacrifice that happened with these soldiers, these kids. Sometimes
you're
they
right.
even lied. Our kids wouldn't do that these days. Lie about their age to go to war. They're gonna lie about to get out of it. They're gonna be moving to Canada. Not back then. Not when our soldiers meant shit. Like they mean shit now. But I mean, like the passion.
I love this passion. This is
But
good.
I mean, the passion back then, and like I hate that it's being forgotten.
Yes.
I feel like it is, and I don't want to say that, but I feel like it is being forgotten. Like the passion of like what was sacrificed and what made our country, and like what these men and women really put their lives on the line.
Yep. Without a doubt.
So you guys can still bitch on TikTok what you don't like. That was because our soldiers fucking did that and made your freedom. So you can get on social media and rant and rave your opinions, because that's what America is about. Freedom. And that's what those men died for. Sorry.
Good job.
Hello, people.
Sorry, Mongo. I forgot you were on there.
Well, Mongo.
This is what 3 hours does to you.
let's get the Mongo log started, brother. You ready?
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Get ready for the famous Mongo log.
The government wants your money. This isn't news that I'm reporting. This is just a fact of life that we have all come to expect. The government schemes to swindle, cheat, scam, and generally defraud taxpayers of their hard-earned dollars, and have run the gamut from wasteful pork barrel legislation, cronyism, and graft to asset forfeiture, costly stimulus packages, and a national security complex that continues to undermine our freedoms while failing to make us any freer or safe. Americans have also been made to pay through their noses for our government's endless subsidization of foreign wars, a military empire, our welfare state, roads to nowhere, a bloated federal workforce, secret agencies, fusion centers, private prisons, biometric databases, an arsenal of weapons, and every other budgetary line item that is contributing to the fast-growing wellness of the corporate elite at the expense of those of us who barely making ends meet. And by that, I mean we, the taxpayers. Now, don't get me wrong with regard to the list that I just named, because obviously many of those things are actually required or needed to preserve our way of life. I get that. What I don't get is the bullshit graft and pork that goes on behind the scenes, which allows certain politicians and their benefactors to profit on the backs of the American taxpayer. If you two are comfortable wearing sneakers, a t-shirt, and jeans on date night with your significant other, then you and I are together on the bottom of floor of importance as far as the government is concerned. Because of the government's voracious appetite for money, power and control has grown out of control. Its agents have devised other means of funding its excesses that have added to its largesse through taxes that are disguised as fines, taxes disguised as fees, taxes disguised as tolls, tickets, and penalties. No matter how much money the government pulls in, it's never enough. So the government has come up with a new plan to make it even easier for its agents to seize America's bank accounts, make way for the digital dollar. The move to completely a cashless society could mean governments have more control over our wallets. Physical cash does have its drawbacks, but we've been doing pretty good to date, and I like the system. Now, unmonitored resources like cash do create opportunities for criminals, but they also create a sort of cushion between ordinary people and the government with extraordinary powers. In a cashless society, the government might intercept any transfers in which someone tried to lend money to someone accused of a crime. If hard cash were to disappear, we will need to think about somehow limiting the ability of the government to use the payment system as an instrument to control the behavior of we the people. A global economy running without physical cash will make it much easier for governments to control capital flow. Make no mistake about it, if Big Brother would love to know how we are spending our money. Physical cash allows payments and purchases to be made anonymously. Cash provides a cushion between ordinary people and our curious government. Financial autonomy and individual freedoms must always be protected. Every digital transaction leaves a trail of data that can be tracked and later analyzed. Why would they be interested in analyzing our monetary transactions? I don't know. Somebody, not me, should ask the IRS. We'd rather just fib a little on our annual income tax forms about our charitable contributions than to make ourselves known to the damned IRS. One of the most pressing concerns about cashless society is the loss of financial privacy, which in turn poses a significant risk to personal privacy and autonomy. Some countries are looking at abandoning physical cash entirely in favor of central bank digital currencies, which are called CBDCs. This is not science fiction. Let's face it, digital payments are convenient and efficient. Here's a problem that I have with these mongologs. I start by going in one direction, I'll read something else that's related, and it takes me somewhere unexpected. I often find myself lost in a web of curiosity, diving deeper and deeper into some specific topic or situation, only to realize that I'm so far from where I started that I've lost track of my originally intended train of thought. Well, my friends, I'm here to tell you that I've taken that trip down the rabbit hole. I swear the internet rabbit holes were created to keep people with ADHD busy. The more I looked at this digital currency and its implications, the more I realized I'm essentially a Neanderthal. I like physical currency, and I'm beginning to wonder if even using a bank to store my money, albeit not a lot of it, is even safe. Here's just one small example of how governments can control our activities or behaviors by seizing our digital access to money. During the Canadian trucker protests in 2022, the Canadian government was prompted to invoke the country's Emergencies Act. It included measures to cut financial support to the protesters. Banks were ordered to freeze the accounts of individuals and organizations suspected of being involved in the protest, all without the need for a court order. That, my friends, is a problem. Big Brother can just freeze our assets until we fall in line. I'm pretty sure we've actually fought a few wars over this type of behavior. Transactions from everyday purchases to large financial transactions, if it involves digital data, those can be intercepted and exploited. It is imperative that we strike a balance between the technological progress, the preservation of fundamental rights, and to recognize that the freedom to use physical currency is not a matter of mere convenience, but a crucial safeguard against the erosion of our civil liberties. Taking a quote from Thomas Paine, the greatest tyrannies are always perpetrated in the name of the noblest causes. Fiat money is a government-issued currency that has no physical commodity like gold or silver backing it up. It is considered a form of legal tender that can be exchanged for goods and services. Governments and central banks worldwide are exploring the possibility of using government-backed digital currencies. When and if they are implemented, these currencies would have the full faith and backing of the government issuing them, just as our gold-backed money does today. Although I don't think there's enough gold to back up the money they have out there, but who am I to say that? What would be the advantage of a cashless society? Well, someone, and I don't know who, said in a cashless society, there would be a reduction in crime. Robberies, burglaries, and corruption would drop. Having worked with, but primarily against criminal enterprises, that's just bullshit. I've come to admire the ingenuity and the evil work ethic of the truly criminal mind. As cash is essentially untraceable, it's a useful tool for criminals. Digital currency is less easy to exploit and can supposedly be shut down quickly if it falls into the wrong hands. Supporters of cashless transactions also point to greater ease in everyday money management for individuals and businesses. The need to store, protect, withdraw, and deposit physical money disappears. International travel would also be more convenient without the exchange of paper currencies. Cashless payments increased significantly during the pandemic. In society today, being cashless has a legitimate advantage. Now, the next potential advantage, in my opinion, is just total horseshit. Less physical contact in the everyday economy minimizes the potential for any future pandemics to gain traction. I know that we all fell for the fake costume mask during COVID. Hell, some people still wear their masks today. Nobody, however, made us clean our money or clean our hands while exchanging money at Walmart, and yet here we all still are. Natural disasters or large-scale cyber attacks could render entire electronic financial systems useless, preventing people from accessing their money or buying what they need. In this type of scenario, the old-fashioned physical quality of cash seems reassuring. Because of banking requirements for a cashless society, 25% of all Americans are currently unable to participate in such a system. Finally, and we all know someone, if it's not actually us, elderly people may be less comfortable with tech and less able to switch from physical currency. If you want to know if you're old and about to be phased out, here's how you can tell. If you're having a technology-based problem, i.e. your smartphone, laptop, or desktop computer, and you ask your 6-year-old grandchild and they can resolve it while watching cartoons, then you, my friend, are old. Cash remains a very important part of our lives and is still most attractive payment option in most situations. With the amount of money being withdrawn continuing to increase daily, it's clear that cash has an important place in our wallets and purses for the foreseeable future. And that, my friends, is that. Whiskey improves with age, and I improve with whiskey. My name is Mongo. Whiskey goes in and wisdom comes out. I smoke cigars and I know things. Mongo is out. And now back to you in the studio.
Mongo, let me tell you, you're right. Cashless societies are just prone for corruption. Can you bring? Is he back up?
I'm here.
Oh, they're prone for corruption, or they could shut us down, and man, you will not have any access. And getting back to that 6-year-old fixing your iPhone, I am definitely old too, man, because that's what you need. You need somebody.
I'm not.
You can fix it.
I'm not old.
Do you have somebody fix your phone?
I do, but I'm not old.
I'm a tech idiot. As a matter of fact, I get online and I get into the studio backstage hours before the show, just in case I can't do it, so that my wife can come in and do it for me.
I was tech savvy. Like, I thought I was tech savvy. Like, I actually went to school because I wanted to design video games. I know
Right.
I'm a nerd. I am a video game nerd. I'm not gonna lie. So this is 2000. I wanted to go to college to design video games, and so I got my graphic design degree and all this stuff. But if you don't keep up with that every damn
It
year,
changes
like
so-
you have lost your degree
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. What
and
happens?
now you were a dental assistant for 20 years and talking to this guy on Wednesdays. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah. Just
Not that it's a bad
choose
thing.
your degree wisely. Just kidding.
Man.
Sorry.
But you bring up so many points where we handed cash back and forth. Traces of cocaine are on 99% of every dollar bill that goes across the counter.
Absolutely,
They're saying
absolutely.
every dollar bill.
Yeah, you'll have some. You can,
You
yeah.
can lick your bills.
Just kidding.
You lick enough of them, you might get a numb tongue.
What was that?
I say you can lick your bills, and if you lick enough of them, you might get a numb tongue.
A numb tongue.
I think
But-
that's because the bacteria
No,
and
but,
tetanus, not because of the cocaine.
but we didn't wash our money, and as we're handing it off and passing it off, and the absorption rate and everything else, man, it was.
What?
And I walked against the arrows in Walmart, by the way, and I never got sick.
So I've
Did,
heard like
did you stand in those yellow boxes?
Well, you almost had to because everybody looked at you with a sneer if you didn't. But again, I never walked with the arrows. I always walked against them, and people would still look at me, and I'd be like, "I'm good." Just
Yeah.
not there. It's stupid.
But you know what's funny, and here's the point: is those arrows in Walmart.
what
Everybody
arrows are we talking about?
that you had to
Walmart?
like
floor.
during the pandemic, you had to follow these arrows. You had
Oh
to
no!
walk
See,
a
I
certain
didn't.
way,
I know.
I
I
had a direction.
didn't go anywhere.
right? That just shows
Don't dash
the
everything.
herd mentality
All
of
the little
of society. That that people would all of a sudden it was like robotic. Everybody had to follow those stupid arrows,
Hold on.
and it's like,
Hold on. No, I am.
how
like-
is that going to prevent you from getting sick?
But see, I like people think I'm pretty social. I am pretty social, but I have to say I loved what like the pandemic brought out from people. Like, because we got space. I like space. I don't like people on my back when I'm checking out.
Right.
Like they got 6 feet back. I can put my credit card information in a little keypad. And they're not standing over me. I love
Right.
it.
Okay.
I get DoorDash now. I can get everything under the sun DoorDash to me now because of COVID.
Yeah, but DoorDash, you pay for a
I don't
hamburger.
care.
You
I
pay
don't care.
you pay like 50% more for DoorDash.
For my sanity.
But you don't know who packed your bag, and you don't know who's delivering your
I
bag.
don't know who put it in the package to begin with to put it at
It,
Walmart.
it was all a control. It's all.
Yes.
Hey, I admit DoorDash is convenient. I don't use it, but it's convenient. But it was all a control item.
I mean, there's all the things.
The pickup thing, the Walmart pickup
mean,
and all that, because to me that you don't overspend. You're not
I like to know my total when I
right.
check out. I'm
You're-
a cheap bitch, man.
you're
I like
not,
to know my
you're
total.
not spontaneous buying stuff that you
Impulse
really don't
buying.
need. Right. Impulse
I mean,
buying.
I do because I'm like, ooh, I saved $15, so I got an extra $15.
I could buy another.
Like, what's
I could
on
buy
the
a bag of
dollar
potato
run?
chips I can strap onto my bike like Johnny Rizzo.
I
you
like
just
on the
slap it
way
on your
home from the gym, I'll either go to the grocery or I'll go to Walmart, one or the other. I'll get a few things and come home. I love doing that because I always pick up something extra.
See, I like when I go to the dollar store and do that because that's my budget.
The dollar store.
I like the dollar store. Dollar Tree.
Dollar
Let me
Tree.
get that right.
Dollar
Dollar
Tree.
Tree. I
Yes.
love me some Dollar Tree.
Yeah. Things are $3
because I can impulse buy there for $1.25.
You're right. That's right. All right, brother.
$1.25 tree.
I want to thank you, Mongo, once again for an amazing Mongo log, and sharing your thoughts on Memorial Day. Do appreciate it. God bless you and everybody over there. And you know what? Thank you.
You're welcome and adios. Have a good weekend. Be careful.
All right.
Always.
You too. All right, man. That was the famous Mongo log, bringing up some great points, bringing us stuff from his perspective. You
Always
can agree or
California.
disagree, but you know what? I think this always, all his Mongo logs resonate with people everywhere.
I think we need to say Mongolog, the Republican in California.
Well, no, because yeah, it's not only Republican. I think his stuff resonates even with Democrats and liberals
It does.
and
Well, it's
conservatives.
the facts.
It's the facts.
You
It's
like it or
true
don't,
stuff. Right.
it's what it is.
It is what it is, man.
You
It's
don't have to
common
like what I'm
sense.
serving.
It's common sense media right
Mhm.
there, man. He's telling you how it is.
Common sense media. I
Common
like
sense
it.
media. Like it?
I like it.
All right.
Speaking of common sense,
Well, you know
I got
what?
some events coming up.
Yes,
Speaking of
well,
common sense events,
Let's go over some of the events that we got some great events coming up. We have been booked solid.
Well, we didn't really get to talk about past events because unfortunately last week we had a
Yes.
little hiccup,
We
so
had
we
a
didn't
little
get
audio
to
issue.
recap. But that's okay. We fixed it. We're good. So we're gonna have the guys from
Buffalo Joe's.
Buffalo Joe's
and
Honor
the
Guard.
Guardian. Yep.
They're gonna come on. We're gonna have them back on the show, recap all that because they have a good cause and a good reason why we were out there.
Yes.
And unfortunately, shit happened. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But another thing that was right after we got done with Pinups and Pistons, and we had the Brotherhood for the Fallen car
yes.
show. I mean, we had a lot of things coming
Yeah,
up.
and we keep rolling. Man, so if you want to book the 99 for your event, you book us now, man, because
Bring
we
out your
are filling
pocketbook.
up.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know, Tattoo Mark just reached out. He's like, "Hey, listen, can you guys be at this event? Because I need you guys there. You know, I want you guys there. You guys do a great job." And now I also booked Randall, the from Lone Star Cuisine. He's going to be at the Tattoo Mark event, and that's
Okay.
going to be on August 9th over at All Storage here
August
on
9th.
Industrial.
All right.
But let's talk about
Booking
some
shit
of
that I didn't know about. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's fine. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'll be
Let's-
there. But no,
let-
we have coming up. I have so coming in calendar. We have July coming up because I don't think we have anything in June. I think June we're pretty much just
Well, June this weekend we got Carry the Load.
carry the load.
But we got Carry the Load, and that's
Anything
with a
else in
badge of
June?
honor. I got to check the calendar. I don't think we have anything in June.
But July. We
July.
do.
July 19th is a busy day
Yes, it is.
for us. No, July. Well, yeah,
Yeah, July 19th.
July 19th.
July 19th, I'm hosting the Beers and Betties at Perry's Kitchen or Perry's Pizzeria and Tap House off 35.
July 19th.
You are looking. Yes, we talked. Yes,
Shit.
you have. I know we double booked. We double.
We double booked. Oh no.
No, this we double booked.
Yes, because July 19th they also have the Ride for Suicide. The 10th annual Ride for Suicide.
That's fine.
And July 19th is a Jarhead Jam.
Well, you know what?
I think.
Don't quote me on the Beers and Betties. I can change my date. I haven't put anything out there yet. So you know what?
Whoa.
So let's hold off on the Beers and Betties date. I might have to switch that because we can.
Let me just double check,
Okay.
man. Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
okay.
lot.
We'll figure this
We
out.
need an intern. If there's an intern that wants to get into media,
Yeah, 'cause
please
we
let
can't
us
pay
know.
them. We don't make that kind of money.
So let me just
I can pay you in ultras
in crypto
on a
money.
weekly basis.
But we'll figure it out. So we got Jarhead Jam coming up. We on May 27th. We have Trey Cordy Day. That's Choose to Move. That's with Aaron Wild and Mike Kislak.
Kislyak. He's
Kislyak.
gonna love that I keep saying that.
I know.
Kislyak. It's not. I'm saying it wrong. He hates it.
This weekend at Texas Harley Davidson, they are
Oh, that's
having
right.
barbecue to support our veterans.
Barbecue
and,
hogs at
Barbecue
Harley.
hogs at Harley.
Ooh, that needs to be a title for
there
a
you go.
fucking event.
Yeah, barbecue
You're
hogs at
welcome,
Harley. The baking with Betty's. Let's talk about that. That is
Speaking
a
of Texas Harley.
that is a huge event that's
Speaking of
coming up.
Texas Harley. So he is going to get the confirmation on the prize winnings. So I don't want to completely say it again like what it. There's going to be a major prize for first place pinup. I'm talking hundreds of dollars. Hundreds of dollars. I'm not talking 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. So we're getting that confirmed by Micah and Harley. So it's going to be September 20th. Big baked good kind of theme bike rally. So the girls are going to be in like baked good theme, like strawberries, blueberries, cherries, all that fun summer sprinkles and all that good stuff. Summer vibes. Pie eating contest, maybe
Yes.
some pie wrestling. Don't know quite yet. We're getting in the works. Just got it.
Pie wrestling.
Well, it'd be more like the pie filling.
All right. Yeah, yeah, okay.
cherry cheese.
I'm digging that. I'm digging that. I'm digging that.
Wrestling it all out in the day. I don't know. But one of those things. But yeah, we got the pinup contest. And I'm thinking, I've been Harley Davidson pinup contest before, and that's exactly how I got involved in Harley Davidson pinup or pinup in general, is that they had a pinup contest. But I've never seen this big of a prize at any of them yet. So this is going to be a big one.
I'm sorry.
I know,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the 7th annual Jarhead Jam and Back to School Bash is July 26th. I'm sorry. It was July 26th. I had it written down wrong. So July 19th is still not a double book day. Good.
I'm glad you got that.
I'm a great intern.
Applications, we will take them. You can email me at liveon99radiotv.com.
You know, truthfully, and this is on a serious note, if you are in college and you're an intern and you're getting into the broadcasting field, if you would like to be a part of the 99% Radio Network, please contact us because we are looking for internship, for bookings, for setups, for just to be a part of
Not
our show.
Not necessarily a graphic designer, but somebody more in scheduling and administrative.
Yeah, we can definitely use your help. So
we're begging. We are begging you, please help us. I'm just kidding. So you can email me. You can get on our page. Obviously, 99% Radio Network. Message us. It's me or him. They're gonna talk to us.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody else you're gonna talk to because he ain't answering emails.
Who, Chance?
He's over there just putting commercials on and shit.
There you go.
Sorry. How many shits do I have this episode?
Yeah, you've
Do I get fined?
Yes.
Oh.
$1.25 by Dollar General.
By Dollar General.
Yes.
I'm only paying Dollar Tree.
Wow. So once again, man, before we wrap this up, I wanna thank Lori.
Wait.
What?
5:41. We almost made 3 hours.
We almost made 3 hours. We're getting there. We're getting there. But I don't want to bore anybody else anymore. Once again, we went to 3 hours because we do have a lot of content. You know, it's all about where the rubber meets the road. We have so many amazing guests, so much good content to bring to you each and every week. Please drop us a comment, share, let us know what we're doing. Let us know what you want to see, and how we're doing, you know, with our shows, our scheduling and everything else, because, you know, we're putting it all together for you. We want to be your voice. Yes. And that's what it's all about. We want to give you the platform that no traditional media will give you. We are here, and we are growing bigger and better each and every week because of you. But, you know, Lori Montoya out of Colorado, Mongo out of California, Flex here with Biker Health, Glenn Lawson with the Biker Wolfpack. You know, we have so much information that hits everybody in some way or another. Plus our amazing guests, our biker guests, our organizations, our foundations, Tattoo Mark, and I really got to give this man a shout out again.
He's watching.
Who really is he watching?
Yeah,
who really has inspired and threw more wind in the sails of the 99% Radio Network by offering such great words of wisdom. And, you know, I was really, you know, feeling the wind knocked out of the sails a little bit because you're being overwhelmed, you know. And then he'll leave me a friggin' text message. He'll leave me a words of inspiration, a voice message, and it's like, dude, this is what I'm doing it for, you know. And it's like he's got so much passion for the kids in the children's hospitals, and he's got so much energy, and he's battling a medical disease. He's battling medical issues, and this man still gets up and does stuff for
and
others.
brings smiles to
And
other
he
people's
does.
faces.
And it makes
he's going to be at a lot of our events.
Yes.
Like we're building a Rolodex of our 99 family.
Yeah.
Like Mark has his Tattoo Mark Foundation family. Yep. We're going to start building our family. So we have our barbecue, we have our food truck people, we have our foundations that we like. We have the people that have worked with us because we're all about uplifting people that uplift us. It's not about like we're trying to get people to say the same back to us. It's not like tit for tat.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to support people just because they say things back to us.
Right.
But it all does come back together. The support always brings back. If I show you love and you show me love,
yep,
it's all bringing everybody back together. I mean, that's what we're about. We're about community, and we're about sharing and boosting everybody up. That's what it's about.
100%. You know, Mark brought up something to me today, and I thought it would be a great thing to do because he's got a lot of charitable sponsors and people that do stuff with him, and so do we, right? He said, "Why don't we have a sponsor appreciation day?"
Mm.
How cool would that be? Have a sponsor and club appreciation day. And you know, when we talked
Give us a year.
when we talked to Angelo the other day about maybe utilizing the parking lot here at Fishbowl,
Yes.
we could bring in that food truck we can bring in the food truck of Lone Star Cuisine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Oh my God. Hey, brother. Yo, hey, come here real quick. Hey, I know I'm
We're
gonna.
gonna get a little surprise guest. What's up, baby? How you doing?
What's up going on, brother? You want to give me a 2 seconds on air? Just on real quick. We're doing Memorial Day. Come on. We're honoring our fallen veterans, and we've been dedicating the show to our veterans that have passed.
Oh, well, did you hear my song? You ever heard my song, Homeless Hero?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Oh, you need to hear this,
Hey,
Homeless Hero.
real quick, we got a special guest who's just coming in to do his show, the legendary Howard Scott, military veteran. God, you know, I'm sorry to bring you in so much,
He's
but
like, I'm just trying to go to work.
You are the person that we really want to do. Speak about Memorial Day, and I would love to have your perspective real quick. I know I'm getting you on the spot. You're getting onto your show.
That's okay. I got a couple of minutes.
What does Memorial Day mean to you, Howard?
For all the people that have served and past tense, that didn't make it, the people that have served us and all the people that have served this country, they're memorialized with Memorial Day. The fallen veterans, that's another thing. We have to always remember them. And I wrote a song for the group War. And it's on what album is it? It's just called Homeless Heroes.
Homeless Heroes.
It's about a veteran that went to Vietnam and did his duty, and he came back. And like a lot of vets, he became homeless. And so we're trying to say, like, all the veterans that are out there that serve, we need to take care of all our veterans and all the people that serve this country, no matter what. So the song Homeless Hero kind of memorialized Vietnam veterans and all the veterans, that have served this country. So my perspective is veterans, not at peace. We're at peace right now, but we're always at a state of war, so always a state of readiness. So all our veterans, man, like Memorial Day, power to you.
Thank you very much. I know I caught you on the spot.
That's okay, but I want you, listen, it's good to see you again.
Same
but
here.
I really want you to check out that song when you get a chance.
I'm going to check it out as soon as the show's over.
This is all about homeless heroes. It's about a Vietnam veteran, Charlie Company, 3rd Platoon, dodging bullets in the afternoon.
Oh,
Ooh.
God bless. And your show is going on at 6 o'clock, right?
Matter of fact, we're doing a show with all the songs I did with Eric Burden. So my show today is about Eric Burden and war.
Oh, wow. All right.
So Spill the Wine and Magic Mountain. But Spill the Wine was the biggest song we did with Eric Burden.
Really?
Remember that one?
No.
Come on.
Come on, man. I remember Lowrider.
Yeah.
Why Can't We Be Friends? And,
Who's a pretty lady?
Huh?
Oh.
This is
Hi.
Pitbull. You haven't met.
Hello.
Hi,
This is
handsome.
the new co-host of. She's
Really?
been here for almost a year.
Really?
But since we've been doing a 3 to 5 show. Now that we're going to 3 to 6, we'll be able to see.
We'll be able to run into you.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, it's my pleasure meeting you both.
Same here.
And we always be friends, man. But Memorial Day, if you need me, man, just call me.
Absolutely.
God bless, brother.
Thank
I'm here for you.
Same here.
All right.
Have a great show, Howard. That's Howard Scott with the legendary band
Hey, well,
War.
excuse me, let me take my shades off.
Hey. Oh, hell.
I forgot to have my glasses on.
You're still looking
He's
sexy,
like,
brother.
hold on, let me get
Still
your
looking
eyes.
sexy. You know,
Love it.
you can check out
Mwah.
the Howard Scott Show on Fishbowl Radio. Check out Howard Scott. Just inducted, right? Did you get inducted?
For the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's coming up. We're getting inducted for the Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame. That's coming up June 5th.
June 5th. God bless.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get your star on
stereo things.
on Hollywood. You do, and you know what? You've sacrificed too.
You're always looking good, man. It's always good to see you.
God bless, brother.
You take care.
Nice.
Thank
meeting
you.
sweetheart.
The legendary Howard Scott, man, from War. Why can't we be friends? There's so many iconic songs. It was funny. We had a guest in here from Roll Call, right? Oh, it was what's it?
Roy Davis.
Roy Davis.
Yeah.
Roy back in the 70s was
Roy
in,
was a partier.
Roy was back in the 70s.
dude.
We had Howard on the show, and he was telling us how he was doing a show in Guam back in the 1970s, and he got drunk and he was walking down the road. Roy picked him up. Roy picked him up. He was on the way to the show. So it was a small world here in Fishbowl. How everybody connects somehow.
Fishbowl.
It's the Fishbowl, man.
It's
Anything
not
can
Tank.
happen in there. But once again, I want to thank Howard Scott for that impromptu, interview real quick because he's getting ready for his show. Chance, thank you for being behind the mic over there, behind the board, and making the show what it is. Catch us every Wednesday, 3 to 5. Catch us at an event. You want to book us? Give us a shout. Give us an email. We will be more than happy to come there. And
Telegram, voicemail.
Telegram, voicemail, pigeon, whatever it is.
I'll take owl.
Owl.
Harry Potter.
Harry. All right.
I like it.
All right. And once again, man, if you can be anything in this world,
Be kind.
be kind. Thank
Don't
you,
be a
Vet.
dick.
Don't be a dick.